All right, guys, this is Gamer Nerd, and we are back with another Raid Shadow Legends free-to-play mystery shard only run video. Today we are going to be going over the Lizardman faction and all of its glory. We're going to be looking at every hero and seeing what they are and how they work. So let's just not waste any time and get right into it. We're going to start off with Lazarus. So yeah, Hierophant Lazarus. His A1 places a shield buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's attack, so that's actually pretty cool. Attacks all enemies before attacking, places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns, also decreases the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 2 turns. After attacking, places block buffs debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. That's an insane skill, by the way. Fills turn meter of all allies by 20%, also decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 20%, and then places an increased attack and a strengthen buff on all allies. That's crazy. Transforms on his other skill, and then his passive at the start of the champion's turn places a perfect veil buff and a 50% increased accuracy buff on them for 2 turns. Also, this champion receives 3% less damage for every 750 attack they have, and that stacks up to 30, so that's a lot. And at the end of this champion's turn, revives a random ally with 50% HP and a 50% turn meter, also places a perfect veil buff on the revived ally. So that's kind of ridiculous. It's a bit of a crazy skill that he can do that every, 3 turns? So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this guy's kind of crazy. He can essentially reduce all turn meters. He can do block buffs, steal buffs, like everything. He's got turn meter increase. He's literally insanely good. He's got a shield, which is proportional to this champion's attack. So yeah, you could just put a ton of attack on him, and he is gonna basically destroy everyone and steal buffs. He's kind of crazy, and actually a little bit broken. Some of these newer heroes that are going to be like the mythics are kind of crazy, and really, I think eventually are going to hurt the game because you're just going to have a bunch of heroes who can go on forever. They can just constantly. So let's take a look at his other form. Attacks one enemy 2 times. The first hit increases this champion's attack by 3%, stacks up to 30%. This second hit decreases 3% of the target's attack or defense, or destroys 3% of the target's max HP, depending on their type, up to 30%. That's a little crazy, but does not work against support champions. So there you go. Attacks all enemies, will ignore shield and increase defense buffs. Before attacking, removes all debuffs from this champion and increases his attack by 15% for each one removed. If no debuffs were removed, increase the champion's damage by 15% for each ally. That's for each ally that's alive. That's so basically all the time. Attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore ally protection, strengthen, and shield buffs, as well as 30% of the target's defense. That's crazy. Before attacking, steals 50% of the target's turn meter. This effect cannot be resisted. Whew, geez Louise, this guy's crazy. What does that say? Transforms, okay, and then at the start of the champion's turn, places a 50% increased attack buff and a 30% increased crit damage buff on them for 2 turns. Increases the cooldown of all enemy skills, all, not one, by 2 turns whenever this champion kills an enemy. If this champion kills 2 or more enemies in a single attack, this effect will only activate once. So that's even more crazy. I mean, basically, he can just keep lowering your skill cooldowns and killing you guys one by one, especially if he's in like a relentless or something like that where he gets extra turns. Yeah, he's kind of ridiculous. He's definitely one of the best heroes I've seen in this game right now. Yeah, awesome hero. How's his reviews? Yeah, 5 all around. No kidding. Because he's literally insane. So yeah, if you get him, great. If not, good luck fighting him. All right, so let's see. Mr. Draco Morph, everyone talks about him. Attacks one enemy, damage increases by 10% for each debuff on the target. Will attack one random enemy with any surplus damage if the target is killed. Damage inflicted is equal to triple the surplus damage. So that's not bad. Attacks 4 times at random. Each hit places poison and places a weaken and decreased defense on all enemies. So that's actually really cool. He's probably really good for like clan boss. Yeah, clan boss, Dragon Slayer, anywhere. Anywhere that poison is good. Yeah, which is a lot of places. So Draco Morph, awesome hero. I would build him immediately. Rocks him. He's whatever. He has a 1 attack, has a 50% chance of filling the champion's turn meter by 10%. Also has a 50% chance of placing a perfect veil. He also attacks 1 enemy. He fills the champion's turn meter by 50%, so that's good. Has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff on the target for 1 turn whenever he's under a veil. 75% chance of placing sleep. Attacking without a veil. Places perfect veil on the champion for 2 turns after attacking. That's a lot of nonsense. Who cares? Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing decreased defense and a weaken. It decreases the cooldown of jungle ambush, so that's fine. Attacks 1 enemy while not under veil, and has a 75% chance of placing the same debuffs and places perfect veil. He's annoying already. Like, I don't like him at all. But yeah, does he have good reviews? Yeah, most people are probably like, I got tired of reading it, just looking at it. Do I think he's good? I mean, I wouldn't waste my time with him, but if you have him and he's all you got, then sure, build him. But otherwise, I don't think he's that great. Basatha. All right, so he attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff, places 25% strengthen and continuous heal buff on all allies, also places a shield for anyone under a crazy amount of debuffs, so that's good. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn and decrease each enemy's turn meter by 30%. That's a wicked skill. I like that. He's also got his skills based on HP, so that's actually really good. What is his? Wow, he has bad reviews. That's crazy because he is really good. Like, he has the stun and a turn meter drop. I mean, that's crazy. And he can strengthen and can do continuous heal, and he has a decreased attack. All that's actually pretty good, especially for bosses. You can decrease the attack with him, and you can basically stun lock most of the team by stunning them and then taking away their turn meter so they don't get any turns. And then if you have a secondary hero that can come in and freeze, then yeah, you basically have a bunch of not attacking heroes. So yeah, I would actually build him fairly quickly. It's funny because he does. I think people just don't realize he's useful unless there's other heroes that just do what he does that no one cares about it. But for Lizardman Faction, yeah, it'd be awesome. Fushan, everyone seems to like him. Has a 25% chance of placing an extra hit. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn, so that's good. And attacks 4 times at random. Each has a chance of placing a 60% decreased defense. And how's his speed? Increase ally speed by 24%. That's not bad in all battles. I'll take it. So yeah, he's probably really good for clan boss, right? Yep. Arena, Dragon, Demon Lord. He's okay, right? Not bad. I mean, he's got no, it was the stun. He's more for campaign actually. He would be really good at yeah, he's another one of those people because he can stun the entire waves. So yeah, I would use him also for that kind of stuff. So he's basically a baby of Carl, and so is Bosatha. This guy's a little bit better, I think. I mean, depends on what you're looking for. Raisin, he's okay. I mean, the only thing stopping him from being amazing is the fact that he really only has his A1 that can do something really useful. He's got the 20% chance of removing a random buff. He does have weaken, but at the same time, and he has decreased defense, which is great. And he can reduce turn meter by 100%, which is also great, I guess. But at the same time, it's like it's on a 7 turn cooldown, 6 if you book him. And so it doesn't happen very often. So you can't even use it as like a stun lock or a way to keep teams from not going because they get 5 more turns in between, which is a waste. So yeah, I would say stuns and freezes are way more effective for that. But for the one off chance that you need 100% reduction of turn meter, yeah, he's good for that. But otherwise, he's kind of a whatever hero. Skull Vargal. He's got one attack that hits 2 times, and it fills his champion by 10, his turn meter by 5%. He has a 30% chance to repeat this skill, which also places a 100% heal reduction debuff on the target for 2 turns. I mean, that's not terrible. He has a strengthen and a provoke on all. Is it no, just one target? That's not that's okay. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack buff. So he's got AoE decreased attack. That's good. And when attacked, he destroys the attacker's max HP. He cannot destroy a single enemy's max HP more than 50%. And it occurs once per attack. Yeah. He also has a chance of placing True Fear. I mean, if you're trying to get hit, which most people aren't, yeah, I wouldn't use him. So he's only good if you plan on getting hit. He is a defense hero, so that is good. You could just stack defense on him, but do you really want to sit there and wait for someone to hit you in order to just destroy their HP when you could just kill them? So yeah, he's probably not so great. Yeah, he's got bad reviews, not surprising. Yeah, I would skip him. Python. This guy is amazing. He's got revives, he's got heals, he's got all kinds of stuff. He can block debuffs. He can revive your whole team and put strengthen on them. And allies receive 5% less damage from skills for each buff on them. So basically, you just buff everybody up, and then you get 5%. Oh, basically 25% essentially. If you can get all the buffs up, 25% less damage, which is insane. So yeah, he's really good. If you were able to fuse him back in the day, I would highly recommend using him. He's very good. He's basically a hard carry through faction crypts. Ermagerd. Yes, what does he do? Attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. The chance increases to 15% for each buff on the target, which is okay. Removes all provoke debuffs and one random buff from all allies. Places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 20% of the champion's max HP. See, I like that it's the champion's max HP, right? No, wait, sorry. On all allies for 2 turns of this champion. So it's this champion. That's a good thing. everything. So that means he's actually not bad. Attacks all enemies and removes a random buff. He has heal reduction and 60% decreased defense, which is nice. So that's good. And then he's immune to provoke, and he fills his turn meter if someone tries to provoke him. So I mean, is he amazing? No, but he's got uses. I wouldn't be against him. I'm not like for him, but I mean, it's very specific that you would need to provoke, like to be worried about. Most people don't use provoke. There's a few setups that do use it. Yeah, like I said, he's probably not bad reviews. I figured as much. I would probably skip him, but he's not terrible. Let's put it that way. Nekmoar. This guy is insanely good. Attacks all enemies, 40% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns, and it increases to 75% against targets under debuffs. So the more they're debuffed, the more chance you get. Attacks all enemies and places decreased speed and leech. So an AoE leech and speed. That's crazy. Places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns and fills their turn meters by 30% and grants them an extra turn. Insane. Fills the champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transferred, or expired. So yeah, this guy is crazy, and all speed, speed in all battles by 19%. This guy's literally a no-brainer. Build immediately as soon as you get him. If you have him, build him. Let's see. Yeah, 5. So look at this, 5, 5, 5. He's good for everything. Like this guy's unstoppable. Even though he looks like a lizard that got beat up by a what is that stupid thing? That stupid bug monster. I can't think of it right now. You know, it's going to bother me, but you know, it's fine. He looks like a bug and a lizard. He's a lizard bug. I'll take it. All right, Croar the Devourer. This guy is really cool looking, and he's also really good. He attacks one enemy, attacks all enemies if one time if the first attack is critical, so give him some crit. Attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. Also heals this champion by 10% of their max HP for each critical hit. Immediately, he's really good for Scarab King. Places 30% increased crit rate buff and crit damage buff on all allies for 3 turns, and then gives him another turn. So that's really cool. And whenever this champion attacks, decreases the target's attack or defense by 5%, as well as accuracy and resistance by 5%, depending on which stat is the highest. So basically, he's removing stuff, he's putting up shields, he's healing, and he can attack everybody whenever he crits. That's pretty badass, I think. Yeah, 4.7. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's got really good reviews. He's a really cool hero. I really like this claw. I don't know what that is. That like a claw? That's like a claw on his claw. Look at that. He's got a claw on his claw. I like that. Definitely a pretty cool hero. I would build him pretty quickly. Krisk the Ageless, we don't need to really go over him. He's awesome. He's been around forever. He's literally one of the best heroes in the game, probably top 5. He can constantly regenerate shields, and he does tons of damage. And if you have him, you're lucky because you just unlocked easy mode. There you go. Ramachu. This guy is kind of a jerk. Not terrible, but he's okay. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of the target's skills at random by 1 turn, and has a 25% chance of placing a stun. If the cooldown increase is successful, will also decrease the cooldown of 1 random skill by 1 turn of the ally with the highest turn meter. So that's not bad. Attacks one enemy 4 times and can drop a buttload of debuffs. All right, and then he can place True Fear on an enemy for 1 turn if the target has 4 or more debuffs. So there you go. I think that reminds me of that stupid Kit Kat joke from. He's like, I like Kit Kats unless I'm with 4 or more people. So he has to have 4 or more debuffs. There you go. Mitch Hedberg attacks all enemies. Has an 80% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies before attacking. Also has an 80% chance of placing block active skills debuff for 2 turns on enemies without passive skills. Also has an 80% chance. This is like a lot of stuff, but either way, it's good. Block active skills. And then whenever an enemy places a debuff, basically on this champion, it will instantly fill his turn meter by 30% and place a 30% increased speed buff and a shield buff on them for 2 turns. The shield is equal to 30% of this champion's max HP, which is fine, but he's an attack hero, so I mean, I don't see that as being amazing. I think he's good. I don't think he's that great. He's okay enough. Yeah, he's got some skills. Most people don't really like him. For the time it takes to get him, he's garbage. Let's put it that way. All right, so Shor. This guy is literally a broken hero. You have to have insane resist if you're going to fight him. Otherwise, you will die every single time. Just letting you know. So, attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn. That doesn't sound bad, does it? Yeah, well, guess what? You're about to find out why that's bad. Attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit has a 75% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 4 turns. Yes, you read that. 4 turns. The second hit has a 75% chance of placing a decreased defense. So now he's going to start with this hit. All right, he's going to poison the crap out of your entire team, and he's going to decrease your defense, which doesn't sound that crazy because poison takes time, right? So that's fine. Attacks one enemy and then attacks one time at random. If the target is under poison, debuff will ignore shield, block damage, unkillable buffs. Grants an extra turn if this attack kills the enemy. Also resets the cooldown of Venom Storm. So let's recap. He's going to do this, all right, poison you. Then when he attacks, all right, if he kills somebody, he's going to get an extra turn, which then resets Venom Storm. So then he can poison you again, basically, and just he can continuously poison you, is what I'm saying, which isn't even the worst part of his kit. This is the crazy part, because remember, he still has a sleep on his A1, which doesn't sound bad either. But then we get to his 4th skill, and this is where things get a little crazy. He instantly attacks enemies with the default skill whenever they receive damage from a poison debuff placed by this champion. When hitting enemies under poison debuffs, heals this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted. So let's recap. Basically, you're going to get poisoned. All right. Then he's going to hit you with this and get through anything you have going. So if you got block damage, shield, unkillable, doesn't matter. He's going to hit you anyway. If he kills you, he resets this. If he doesn't kill you, he's going to probably leave you with poison damage. And guess what happens? Poison damage hits before the turn. So what happens is a 1 hits, all right? Because if you take poison damage, he attacks with his base skill. So now, before you can even attack, he's going to put you to sleep. Isn't that nice? So every single person that attacks before they are able to use their skill will get put to sleep, which basically means he can, in theory, continuously kill your team by himself and heal himself back up while he's doing it and go through unkillable and go through everything. He's a little ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. He's probably one of the stupidest heroes in the game as far as being just overpowered. I've beaten him in the arena before, and it's only happened once. He's ridiculous. He's got insane skills. If you have him, I would build him immediately. He's good for literally everything. He's an arena monster. He's a jackass, and I hate him, but I would love to have him. So he's definitely the best hero in the Lizard faction that I can see. All right, Sulfurion. What does he do? Attacks one enemy, fills the champion's turn meter by 15%, also fills the turn meter of all allies except this champion by 10% when attacking under HP burn. So that's nice. I'll take it. Fills turn meter. He places HP burns and also explodes HP burns, and then places a shield buff on the allies for 2 turns equal to the damage inflicted by the burn, which is nice. I'll take that. Revives all allies. Yeah, there you go, right there. Boom. He's already a winner. Revives all allies with 50% HP and 40% turn meter. So that's good. And he fills turn meter of all allies by 5% for each HP burn debuff placed. Whenever an HP burn is activated, heals everyone, and whenever an HP burn is activated on Scavag or Tainted Scavag, Spiderlings or Tainted Spiderlings heal all allies by 1%. So there you go. They actually had to put a little thing in there for the spider because I'm assuming he got fixed. Whenever an HP burn debuff is removed from an enemy, places a 50% decreased resistance debuff on the enemy. Whenever an ally is killed by an enemy under HP burn debuff, it fills his turn meter by 20% and increases the champion speed by 7 for each active HP burn. That is insane. This guy is also a legitimate beast, like literally one of the best heroes in the game. You look at that, 5, all of them, like insane skills. This guy will wreck anything. So him and him, these two awesome heroes. If you have them, you are in luck. Jerck, this guy's terrible, by the way. He attacks one enemy and ignores defense. He attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 75% chance of stun. Boring. Attacks 3 times at random, and he can do decreased attack and decreased defense. Nobody cares. This guy is, he's not terrible, but he's also not good. I would build anyone else over him. Jerck, I had him on another account. I didn't like him, but people swear by him. He definitely has some interesting skills. He can do decreased attack. He does have ally protection and defense up, which is good. He also places continuous heal buff on an ally whenever an ally loses 20% of their HP in a hit. But yeah, I don't know. He bored me, and he didn't really do much for my team because what ends up happening is your team probably isn't built correctly if you need him, because then you're just wasting an attack slot that can do damage. So, at least for me, in my perspective, because I would rather a team, especially even like clan boss, things like that, I would much rather use someone who can do more damage quicker than somebody who's going to protect me and make the fight go longer, because then you just have a longer fight and not as much damage. That is not true, however, for things like unkillable comps and other things. There's definitely situations where he's good. Because like I said, he's got reasonable reviews, so people do like him. I just personally don't like him. I didn't like using him in a lot of different areas. He did nothing for me. I have Visix, I have Myrmidon, I have other heroes that can do this kind of stuff, but he's not terrible. Let's put it that way. And he's definitely got uses. Venom Mage, I think we don't need to talk about her. She's amazing. Probably one of the best clan boss heroes, Hydra heroes. She does heal reduction. She does poisons. She does all kinds of crazy stuff. Decreased defense, decreased attack. She's got all kinds of stuff on her skill kits. If you get her, build her literally first as soon as you get her. max her and use her because she's gonna up your game like John Wayne. I'm just gonna go with it. Basilisk. What does he do? He attacks all enemies and places an increased attack buff on him, so no one cares. Attacks one enemy, places a stun. Also don't care. Revives this champion by 30% when killed by a block. When killed and places a block. So basically, you're just prolonging the inevitable that you suck really bad and you're gonna die and come back and tell everyone that you suck still. All right, Ox the Rememberer. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 10% chance of placing a poison debuff. I like that. Attacks one enemy, heals all allies by 10% of their max HP. Don't like that. Heals each ally an extra 2.5% for each debuff on the target. Don't care. Places a 50% decrease attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of decreasing enemies' turn meter by 20%. Places a dib. I'm already bored with this guy. Like, I don't care anymore. Increases the duration of 2 random. Yeah, what is this? This is garbage. What does this guy do? And he's got good reviews. Yeah, it's this whole thing with the whole heals all allies by 10% of their. This is the big part. Their max HP. All right. I don't care how much HP this guy has. It's going to heal you by your HP. So if you have someone who's got like 20 or 30,000 HP, they get like nothing out of this. So yeah, I don't like him. I think he's trash. Broodlord. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a provoke debuff and 1 turn, and if the target is under decreased speed. So they don't no provoke unless they're under decreased speed. Ally protection and block debuffs. Also places a shield buff on this champion. Yeah, okay. Attacks all enemies, 40% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn, and chance of increasing 75% against enemies under decreased speed. So as long as they're under decreased speed, does he drop decreased speed? Here we go. Whenever this champion is attacked while under ally protect buffs, has a chance of placing a so basically you have to get hit to drop speed so that your other skills activate. Yeah, you suck. See, look at this. Look at all these bad reviews. Yeah, Broodlord is a piece of you know what? Garbage. All right, Ziichi, let's see. We haven't had this many garbage heroes in a row in a while. Attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of placing an extra hit. Attacks one enemy, will ignore shield, block damage buffs, places a block damage buff on this champion if it kills an enemy. Okay. Places a 30% increased crit damage and attack buff and then grants an extra turn. I don't care about these increased crit and attack and then extra turn thing. It's literally just waste time. Like, why do I need an extra turn? Just make it an attack or don't put it here. Like, put it on this skill. Just there you go. Increases attack damage and attacks one enemy. I literally don't care. Like, this is a stupid skill. We don't need it. It's we're past that. Passive. Whenever this champion kills an enemy, decreases the cooldown of the Crown Breaker skill. Wow, that's exciting. You suck too. All right, Drake. Let's see. Attacks one enemy, grants an extra turn if the target's killed. I'll take it. Attacks one enemy if the target has less than 50% HP. This attack is always critical, so that's only half the fight. And attacks one enemy, places 30% decreased speed debuff and a 50% decreased accuracy buff on all enemies for 2 turns if the attack is critical. Yeah, you suck too. Wow, why do these guys all suck all of a sudden? Jizzo is really good. So we got out of the suck now. So Jizzo's really good. He's great. I would build him immediately upon getting him in the beginning of the game. You can put him in Destroy HP and he can literally solo Scarab King for you. All you got to do is get him there and that's it. So you just bring a bunch of people who are going to die and boom, you've got him. I use him all the way up until hard mode. The first area, and he can beat Scarab King there. You can beat him further up, but you would need to build him a lot faster and better in order to do it. We just haven't gotten there yet. But either way, he can do it by himself, and he's awesome at it because of his shields and stuff. So build him. I have a video on him if you want to watch. Quargan the Crowned attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of a random buff on a random ally. Wow, random and random. Heals all allies by 15% of their max HP and places a shield buff equal to 15% of their max HP. Oh my god, with this max HP. Places a perfect veil. Yeah, this guy's garbage. Garbage. Yeah, why do people like you? Is it because he has one big fist? Maybe that's it. He sucks. All right. This hero, however, we are not going to be saying anything bad about this hero. All right. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit heals this champion by 2% of their max HP. Each hit also has a 20% chance of placing a poison debuff for 2 turns. Damage is based on what? HP. That's important to this. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Awesome. Places a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies and also places a shield buff equal to 20% of this. See, this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. Yes. And then has a 30% chance of counterattacking when an ally lizardman except this champion are attacked. So any lizard that you have on your team, if they get hit, she's going to counterattack. So let's review. Basically, she can decrease attack. All right. She can heal herself. All right, by 2% of attacks. And each hit heals this champion by 2% of their max HP. I don't know if that means there as in the hero you're hitting. I don't really understand it. But either way, she's got poison, and that's all that matters. And then the fact here is that her shield is based on her max HP. So her skills are based off of HP. So just give her like 100,000 HP, and boom, you're getting 20,000 HP shields. See what I mean? Much better than those other trash heroes. And she, funny enough, has less reviews than them. But I think it's because most people don't have her as much as the older heroes. Broadmaw, I mean, he's okay. He just needs a heal, honestly. You're going to have to build him defensively with a regen. Otherwise, he's going to be garbage because he has to stay alive. And unfortunately, he's the one hero that dies after a while because he's going to keep reviving everyone, but then they target him and then he dies before he can revive everyone. So yeah, you need regen on him or something to keep him alive long enough to actually resurrect everyone. Otherwise, he's got a freeze on his A1, and it's pretty cool. He's got speed up, block damage up, revive, all kinds of cool stuff. He's really good. He just needs to have regen. That's it. Regen saves Broadmaw from being garbage. Scathix. Boom. One enemy has a 30% chance of placing a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of stealing 1 random buff. Okay. Removes all debuffs from all allies, then places block buffs and a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The shield buff is equal to 20% of, once again, this champion's hero. I like that. That's a good one. Places block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever their HP drops below 30. I mean, I don't hate this guy. He's definitely good. He can steal buffs. He can place decreased speed, which is useful in a lot of places. And he's got block buffs and shield for 2 turns. Yeah, I would use him. He's good. If he had, did he have a heal? No? Yeah, maybe. Block buffs? No, he's not a healer. He's just he's a nuisance hero. That's what he is. I mean, I don't hate him. He's good. All right, let's see. MKK Stalker. MKK Stalker really only has one thing, and that's this. He puts a sleep debuff, and it does it on 2 turns. Because it lasts for 2 turns, and then you drop the cooldown by 1. Boom, 2 turns. So he's great for Dust Devil. Yeah. That's it. That's all he's good at. He's not good at anything else. He just sleeps. He's really good at sleep. Skink, interesting hero, not terrible. He will ignore block damage and shield buffs, which is good. He also has a 50% chance of placing decreased defense and heal reduction if they have decreased defense. So that's good. And then if it's crit, he can put heal reduction. Sorry, he crits if it's heal reduction on him. So essentially, how do you get this? So basically, you have to do defense down, then cycle through again to use this skill again to get heal reduction, and then come here, and then you'll always crit. That's not going to last forever because I don't know if if his cooldowns will work. So basically, I would just put him with a hero that has heal reduction, drop the heal reduction, and then he'll just constantly do his crits. See, there you go, and he'll ignore block damage. So I'll take it, right? Exactly. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Gator. I mean, Gator's what he is. He has a increased attack. He removes things. He has a heal reduction, and he removes buffs. Debuffs, sorry. And it's on a 3-turn cooldown. So yeah, he's okay. He doesn't have a heal, but he's good enough. He'll do some stuff. Slither Brute is reasonably weird. He has a 30% chance of placing decreased speed. He also steals buffs, and he can decrease the target's turn meter equal to the amount of buffs on the target. So if you're fighting someone who has a lot of buffs, he's situational, I think. He's not that great, but he does look badass. I mean, he looks like he went to a rave and got painted before he went to battle. And his mouth is glowing, so he's got some glow sticks in there. Bog Walker, awesome hero. He's got decreased attack. He's got increased defense. He's really strong, awesome hero, but I also have him as a 6-star awakened. So that's probably why I love him so much, and we waited a year to get him. But yeah, awesome hero. I would highly recommend him. He actually did help me in Clan Boss for a little while, too. I'm curious if his ratings went up since I built him. No. Yeah, but same thing. Demon Lord and Minotaur. Yeah, either way, he works. Skullsworn, he's basically a counteract hero like that legendary. This is the guy that works with him. So yeah, if you want to get hit by things, then he's your man. But otherwise, he is garbage. I actually never use him. I think I used him once in the beginning. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 25% chance to ignore defense. Attacks one enemy, removes 1 random buff. Okay, I'll take it. And then puts target skills on cooldown. I mean, once again, it's not bad. It's very situational. So that's that. Flinger. He attacks 1 enemy and does decreased defense. He attacks all enemies, which is there's nothing else there, and his skill is always critical when he attacks 1 enemy with this skill. I mean, once again, early game damage dealers, they're not bad, they're not good, they're just there. So I would use them if you have nothing else. Go for it. Slasher attacks 1 enemy, decreased defense. increase crit rate and shield buff. Yeah, and all this is garbage. He's trash. We don't like him. Metal Shaper's really good. He can put up shields. He actually does steal buffs. He can put a shield up on everybody proportional to his level, and he removes debuffs from an ally, which is really good too. So he's really good for Scarab. He's really good for a bunch of different stuff. I would highly recommend building him. Hardscale is actually really good for being a rare. He attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 15% chance of placing poison. He also fills turn meter and increased speed, and he's got a revival, which is nice, and fills their turn meter. And he has speed in arena, which is useless. But yeah, I would use him 100%. He's basically Broadmaw, except better. Cage bound, he's basically a tank, shield up. He's got decreased attack buff, and he's got an ally protection and a continuous heal buff on himself. So yeah, I mean, if you got no one else, he's basically a mini Visix. So that's worth it. Terex the Restless, he's got an attack which increases accuracy, an attack on all enemies, which has a provoke, which ain't bad, and then also a strengthen buff and a counter attack on himself. So yeah, I mean, if you need a protection hero, once again, he's there. He's not the best thing ever. Skinner is weird. He's really good. He has an attack 3 times, and he also removes 2 random buffs from a target. Like, those are insane skills to have on an uncommon hero. So yeah, I'm actually considering building him after we started doing this video. This is the second time we've done it because I had to do it without. Apparently did it without voice, so that sucks. But yeah, I mean, even last time when I did this, I'm surprised that he's that good. I would actually build him. Hardscale, he's kind of whatever. He does decrease speed, and he's got a stun. So I mean, I probably wouldn't use him. Stalker is the same thing. He heals by damage dealt, and he can decrease attack. But once again, you're probably not going to need him ever. Sorus is a really good early game campaign farmer. You've got attack on all enemies and attack on all enemies 2 times, and he places hero reduction, which is pretty good. But either way, he always attacks every enemy. That's what he does, and he looks kind of cool. He looks like Venom if Venom was covered in moss. That's what he is. But yeah, really good uncommon hero if you need a person to do campaign farmer early game. Troglodyte. Yeah, he sucks. There's not much to say about him. He really is a troglodyte. So there you go. Those are all the heroes from the Lizard faction. If I had to say the best hero out of all of these guys, obviously is Lazarus, but no one's gonna have him. So let's just say the best ones that I can see that I would want are definitely Shager and Sulfurion. Those are the 2 that I'm like really digging. I think both of those heroes will severely up your game and make your life much easier. Those are the 2 that I would probably pick. If we're going from my account, well, actually, if we're going for epics, I would say Venom Mage would be definitely one that's up there. And then where's the other one that I liked? My girl, Delaja. I would say those 2 are probably my 2 favorite ones in there, just for clan boss and some other stuff. And as far as rares go, Bog Walker and Muck Stalker are really the only ones in here worth anything outside of Hardscale and Metal Shaper, I think, right? Yeah, so those are the 4 that I would probably say are the best ones out of here. And then, yes, Skinner, I think, is someone that is definitely worth building for Fire Knight and early game stuff like that. All right, so yeah, if you guys have any questions or things you want to discuss, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm always welcome to hear what you guys have to say. If maybe I gave one of the heroes that you love a hard time for no reason, or maybe they're just used somewhere else. Remember, this is a mystery shard only run, so I will only be using these heroes in conjunction with other heroes, and some of them I will never use. So I'm only going by what I've seen versus fighting them in the arena, in dungeons, and what I see on the paper. So that's it, or the screen, however you want to put it. All right. Remember, make sure you like, share, subscribe. It is good for the channel. You help us grow. We do a live stream every single week, and we have a Discord you can check out. Top of the screen, right where you started on the beginning of my YouTube page. All right. So this is the Lizard faction fun time overview. This is Mobile Gamer Nerd, and take care.